He abused them, tortured them, and when he was done, he killed them. Sometimes with a dagger, sometimes with a sword, sometimes slowly. He watched them die. He described feeling ecstasy, not sexual, spiritual, as if he were touching something beyond life. And then he would burn the bodies in the great hearth, or throw them into the moat, or bury them under the floorboards. One witness, his valet, later testified that he'd seen piles of bones hidden beneath the castle. Dozens, maybe hundreds, and still no one stopped him. For years, Gilles continued his depraved rituals. He even wrote poetry about it. Long, flowery verses filled with dark metaphors and gruesome symbolism. Some of his guests grew suspicious. A nobleman once left in the middle of the night after hearing screams behind a wall. But Gilles's reputation, his charisma, and his lingering political power kept most from speaking out. Until he made a mistake. A priest, involved in a land dispute with Gilles, was kidnapped and held in the castle. It had nothing to do with the murders, but it gave the church a reason to investigate. When they arrived, what they found was not just evidence of heresy, it was something else entirely. In 1440, the mighty Gilles de Rais, Marshal of France, lord of sprawling estates, hero of Orléans, was arrested. Word of it spread like wildfire. To the common people, it felt like the ground shaking beneath their feet. This was not some petty noble being accused of theft or treason. This was a national icon, a war hero, and now a suspected child killer. But Gilles? When the soldiers came to his gate, he didn't flinch. He stood tall, elegant as ever, adorned in velvet robes, and welcomed them with the same icy confidence he'd used to stare down death in battle. To him, this was a misunderstanding, a minor insult, a play put on by jealous men. He laughed in their faces. He said he would be exonerated within days, that they would all regret dragging his name through the mud. But the laughter didn't last long. The testimonies started to pour in, dozens of them. At first, it was villagers, mothers clutching broken shoes that belonged to children who never came home, fathers shaking with rage, trying to describe what it felt like to see their sons enter the castle gates and vanish into silence. Then came the servants, Gilles' own men, the ones who had lived inside his castle, the ones who had witnessed everything, men who had once been loyal, men who had helped cover the tracks. Now they came forward with voices trembling and eyes sunken by guilt. One testified that he had been ordered to stand watch while a young boy was dragged, screaming, into a hidden chamber. Another said he saw Gilles emerge from the darkness covered in blood, humming a lullaby to himself. One man could barely speak at all. He broke down crying on the stand, describing how he'd spent an entire day scrubbing blood from the stone floor with a rag until his fingers bled. And then there was the chest. Another servant, his voice almost a whisper, spoke of a small wooden chest hidden behind a false wall. Inside, he had found the severed head of a child, carefully wrapped in fine linen, as if it were a sacred relic. He said he ran from the room and vomited. He said that was the day he stopped praying. But the most chilling moment of the trial wasn't any of the witness testimony. It was Gilles himself.